The screen froze on a scene. Perhaps that would leave you haunted forever? Well, you might have to watch Meander to check that yourself. And do you really want to spend the next 90 minutes stuck inside a tube watching one woman wriggle around? Sounds horrible, I'm just saying, but it's your call. But if you plan on watching the entire movie and surviving it, then I must warn you to ask that question. One would say to watch Meander with the same attention span intact till the end is nothing but setting a path for getting yourself killed. So, that's a question every viewer will have to answer. So without any further ado, let's dive deep into it and get the glimpse of the snippets of one of the most haunted films. No matter where you end up in the movie, be it 7 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or at the end, you'll be haunted by the images of a woman struggling to slink through a narrow passageway. Wherever you look, you're going to find this woman. Don't be shocked if you dream of this girl probably looking wide-eyed in a chamber. You can see her in the front, behind, and from the side. Well, weirdly enough, this is the premise. I don't even have an opinion at this point, but let me know what you guys think about these. What would you do if you found yourself in a confined chamber? And if that doesn't make it worse, you'll have to navigate through an endless series of trap-laden tunnels laid out. You would freak out the first second and probably have an anxiety attack the next second. This is exactly what happens in this movie. I just think the premise is not up to the mark. As much as we like watching suspense, we also get turned off by this. I know, but what can we expect from these simple concepts? If anything, it also makes us fascinated. We must also admit it requires great skill to weave such a beautiful thriller from simple concepts. And it was those allusions to Buried and Cube that caught my eye in the first place. But this looked like a lot of redundant crawling, don't you think so? So in the movie, the first thing you'll find is Lisa. She apparently has thoughts. If you're to ask why, then let me tell you about the sudden demise of her daughter. If this isn't bad enough for her and her family, the fact that her daughter is 9 years old makes it worth it. People don't react when they need to, and when they face the effects, they don't protest, and we can almost see the pain behind their eyes. Now, why are we talking about it? The distress of Lisa is clearly evident. All in all, Lisa lies on a remote road waiting. Guess what? She was over there while she was freaking waiting for a car to run her over. A radio reportedly between these two strangers suggested otherwise. There's a killer on the loose who matches Adam's description. Lisa eyes Adam with suspicion, and it's a no-brainer that Adam could guess, and Adam suddenly swerves. That prologue takes place in our past. Somehow, what happens next appears to possibly take place in the distant future. Waking up in a little room with a strange bracelet with a countdown timer. She has no idea where she is and who put her there, or why. That's the scary side, we must admit. When a porthole opens, Lisa begins making her way through connected tunnels. Each time the clock locked around her wrist ends, a deadly trap suddenly starts. But Lisa must survive. The traps aren't particularly clever. They're a lot like timing-specific Super Mario Bros. Obstacles that have to be avoided while prone. Collapsing walls come together to form a crusher. Fiery flames shoot down one passageway. An acid pit opens up underneath another. Lisa doesn't really have to strain her brain. So this is basically a one-way show. During these physical feats, it's difficult for the movie to promote significant suspense. If Lisa were to drown, burn to death, or get pancaked in an oversized compactor, the movie would instantly end. So there's no reason for anyone to fearfully bite their nails as though she's in any real danger of dying. The pacing picks up at the halfway point when Lisa's situation turns on a sci-fi twist. It's a relatively routine way in which the story starts out. Meander unexpectedly introduces some "what the" moments that catch Lisa and the audience off guard. Out from one ceiling comes a mutant skull wearing a cyborg implant capable of Star Trek medical tricks. Out from another ceiling emerges a feral creature in the charred husk of a human. Suddenly, we no longer see Lisa tiptoeing from one pitfall to the next. Now, there's much more to the "what's going on" mystery for a viewer's mind to actively puzzle over. Meander had so many mundane moments, so not enough to make the movie a runaway winner. Scenes of actress Gaia Weiss squeezing through cramped corridors make up a majority of the movie. And that's a lot of the same old stuff. The sounds of Lisa's huffs and puffs colliding into each other as they bounce off of tight walls were incredible. Choose your own interpretation ending certainly rubbed off the users in a wrong way. My advice, skip a few sections throughout the film to suss out if it's a thriller that fits your fingers. I wasn't sure, so I took the dip anyway. So, now that we've got to the end of the video, I'd like you to subscribe to the channel to get updates on crazy horror films and many more. You surely wouldn't want to miss that, right? So what are you waiting for? Hit it real quick. Moving on, now let's get back at what viewers have got to say. As a user commented, "I thought this would be decent, but I was met with a head scratcher. Look, it's not that I can't appreciate a low-budget, creative concepts or the 'really' ending, but this film was a bit all over the place. Expect some sci-fi, horror, thriller, and drama elements. It's a bit disjointed and slow. I think the actress did a good job with her performance, but she wasn't working with an engaging script. I made it through, and I can say I watched it, but I won't watch it again, and I'm not gonna recommend it. Choosing to watch it is totally up to you." And the other one's post-reads. Sometimes a film is confusing, and you absolutely have to find out what it was about, while other times a film is confusing and you just find it annoying. Meander was unfortunately the latter. I think I understand for the most part what it was intended to mean, but I certainly don't care enough to go seeking out confirmation. More than anything, I just wanted it to be over by the end. This is a shame because it started out so promisingly. A decent opening scene setting things up and then a little mini twist. Then we're introduced to the tunnels and get a real Cube, one of my favorite sci-fi films, feel. But then the next 30 minutes are very disappointing. There's no character interaction in sight, which doesn't have to be a bad thing. But on this occasion, it made everything very dull and monotonous. I was also disappointed by how simple the premise ultimately was. I won't describe what she needed to do, but it was so basic it created no intrigue whatsoever. Sadly, I didn't enjoy Meander much after being excited to see it for a while now. Not one I'd recommend, even though I'd already added it to my streaming queue. Second thoughts spurred me to reconsider if I really wanted to watch Meander. I decided to fast forward to a few random spots to see if I could get a quick sense of whether or not the movie might be for me. Now, that's all for today's video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then consider leaving a like, and don't forget to watch Meander, or not. And surely let us know in the comments below. I mean, again, to reiterate, I don't think it was worth my time, and I'm not sure if you really want to waste your time, but that's up to you to decide. So, it's worth giving it a shot, at least for a few minutes, right? We'd love to hear from you guys. So, don't forget to comment down below. Bye-bye.